Hello and welcome to Senior Living, the program for those 50 plus and for everyone. I am Lynn Brennan, your host, and today's program is Wisdom from the Past. Have you ever thought about the lives of your parents, your grandparents, or your great-grandparents? How they lived, their challenges, their accomplishments in life? I'm sure their stories would amaze us all. Well, today we are going to the Breakers of Long Beach Retirement Living to meet some of these amazing people and hear their stories. And they are all residents of the Breakers of Long Beach. So join me. Let's take a look at some wisdom from the past.
Hello, my name is Ruth Baugh. I am 91 years old, and I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. After graduating from high school, I went to work for Arthur Murray's as a dance instructor. Then that's where I met my husband. We were married, and then we had our first child, and when he was 4 years old, we moved to California. We settled in Manhattan Beach, and I raised 3 more children there. After that, I discovered that when they were all in school, I needed to supplement the income by working. So I went back to school, got my RN license, and went to work for Torrance Memorial Medical Center. After they made me a supervisor later on, I decided to go back to school to get a master's in management to help me as a supervisor. Then my formula for those were my challenges, by the way, and then my formula for active and happy aging is to be very communicative with my children and look after everybody's health by good nutrition and exercise and fun. And I moved to the Breakers, which I forgot to tell you, in 2006. So now our best and exciting time with the whole family for fun is to go to the Long Beach Grand Prix, and we did that this month. Oh, pictures? Oh, this was picture I wanted to be a model too for a long time. And I had pictures done by Richard Avedon, who was a very famous photographer, and he died recently, but he was a very nice man. He did a lot of pictures of me. My husband and my oldest son, he is, my children are beautiful. And this is a picture of my whole family. Well, my children anyway. Okay? That's my family. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carol Rockovitz. I'm 74. I've lived here at the Breakers for about 6 months now. I came to California when I was 2. I'm a Long Beach girl. I was raised in the area. In fact, I've come full circle because when we moved here, we lived the other side of Pine. There were a lot of apartments during the war, and that's where we came when we came to California. I lost my husband about 12 years ago. He was my second husband. I guess one of my challenges was that I was a single mom for about 10 years, but then I met my husband and he was perfect. Second time around is much better. He thought I walked on water, and it was a wonderful life he gave me. When I retired, we owned restaurants and donut shops up north. And when I retired and he kept working, I became a travel agent. So I've been able to travel around the world and see things that I never would have seen otherwise. One of my other challenges was seeing my mom through her older years, and bringing her here to the Breakers really made that easy. She just became a different person. She got a boyfriend the first week she was here, and he passed away, unfortunately, after a few months. But a funny story about her was my mother always wore pearls, and in fact, on the day of her memorial service, everybody wore pearls. Even people who didn't come in other cities that couldn't come wore pearls. But my mom had been here just a few months, and they had decorated the Christmas, the lobby is beautiful at Christmas, and they had decorated that. And I wanted to take her picture to send to our relatives because this was her new home. And my daughter-in-law was going to be here, so I called my mom and I said, you know, Christy's going to be there. Can you go down and get in front of the tree? I want your picture taken in front of the tree. She says, oh no, I just put on my jeans and my red checked shirt. And then she says, oh well, never mind, I'll just put my pearls on and I'll look good. So, and I moved here temporarily, but I'm finding it very hard to leave. I was ill for a month, and they brought me food, they brought me desserts from here, from the Sky Room. Somebody sent me flowers. It was just a nice place to be taken care of, and I feel safe and secure. My advice for healthy living is to keep active. Don't stop, don't sit down and enjoy TV and whatever's going on. Keep your mind active. There's many games and things you can do. Walk. I have my puppy and she insists that we walk every day. Just keep a happy spirit.
I'm Bertie Myers, 91 years old.
And where are you from?
I'm from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, home of the Little League. My best accomplishment is when I really changed from being Jewish to accepting the Lord, Jesus as my Savior. That's the biggest accomplishment. I was in engineering profession with electronics and mechanical engineering, and I came back to California in 1950, and I worked for all the aircraft companies in the area, and I got married out here in California, met my wife on the beach of Santa Monica.
How many
Was
children?
married for 41 years, and then she...
How many children did you have?
I have 3 children.
And what would you say was your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge was
Divorce.
divorce, getting over the divorce, and then I'm finding 2 years later that I found
Phyllis.
Phyllis, who was the love of my life at the age of 74. And unfortunately, she passed away a year and a half, 2.5 years ago. And my other things is challenging just to be healthy and keep things going, and just do activities all the time. I do dancing 3 times a week. I do artwork. I do lots of activities here at the Breakers here. I love people. I have a lot of hobbies, but my biggest hobby has been art tissue, which I had learned in going to art school in college, and also after I retired. And I've taken up ceramics, and I've taken up music, I've taken up piano, and just keep yourself busy. I play golf, I play tennis. I do walking, and I do a lot of dancing. And keep positive in your actions, and just be happy.
I'm Oral Thompson, and I'm 96 years old.
Where are you from?
And I was born in Long Beach, California, on West 3rd Street, 315. and the hotel is no longer there where my mother resided, because my father was in the submarine corps here in Long Beach. I have 2 children, and a boy and a girl, Scott and Nancy. And Scott is lives in Florida, and Nancy is married and lives in Los Osos. As a profession, I started in Minneapolis in doing greeting cards for Buzz the Cardozos. And when I came out to California, I came with a letter of recommendation from them. And on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, Buzza Craft Acres sister company existed, and so I started doing designing for them until I met Dick Thompson at Chenard's Art School, and he worked for Leon Schlesinger. That's Warner Brothers animation studio, and eventually I too joined Leon Schlesinger's, and we married shortly after that and had Nancy and Scott.
And what was your biggest accomplishment in your career?
My biggest accomplishment was happened when they asked me to do paper mache figure of the Grinch, Dr. Seuss's Grinch, and it had to be it was between 8 and 9 feet tall, and it was a monster to work with, and you could not do it by regular paper mache. So I had to figure out a way of handling it to make a character that would be that tall and, of course, considerably wide, and could not wobble or move while riding down the Hollywood Christmas parade in a topless sedan. And but we accomplished it, and in 2 weeks' time. And but we had to do most of the papering with him prone on the floor, and he didn't get finished until the very day he was ready, supposed to be ready for sending out to the starting line for the parade,
And
which was at J. Ward's.
Where is he today, the Grinch?
No one knows, because immediately after the parade, the Grinch went missing, and the Joneses and everyone else has looked forward to getting word about him, and nothing has ever turned up. So he disappeared.
And I see another accomplishment there, Tron.
And Tron is a film of the future. It was to be, and we did the
Hold it up.
we did the effects on. I did the effects on for the picture, which called for a tremendous amount of effects, and we did this on the Disney lot, and it's been featured in the movies in the theaters, and so it was a great deal of work, great deal of fun, and a wonderful experience.
And what would you say would be some advice to other people to their future to be healthy aging?
Is to just do something that is creative for you and that keeps you happy, and you never work a day in your life. Friends are the most important thing, and you find as you grow older that they make up your life. Friends and family, but friends keep you going, and keep you listening and keep you growing.
Hi, Maggie Macklin. I am 74 years young. I was widowed at 27 years old. My husband was killed in Vietnam. He was a pilot, helicopter pilot. And after he was killed, I never did receive his dog tags. So after that, my life took a drastic turn. I found my very best friend, and it was called alcoholism, for over 20 years. I can proudly say I'm now 29 years sober, and I've never been happier. I moved to the Breakers 2 years ago, became instantly involved, and tried to be around people who were more upbeat and fun to be with. I'm currently president of our residential council meeting, and we do a lot of fun activities. I want to backtrack. I did have the opportunity of meeting President Clinton, who was president-elect at the time. I ran into him at the Glendale Mall the day after Thanksgiving, and through him, I was able to get a tree planted for my husband, who was the first pilot to be killed from Vietnam from Glendale. And also, a few months later, there was a little bleep in the Time magazine that Maggie Macklin brought tears to Bill Clinton's eyes. My daughter she is currently a counselor at Poly High School, and she is the biggest joy of my life. I mean, what she had to go through as having a mother like me, she's really come through, and I'm so very proud of her. At the Breakers regarding health, I try to stay active, I watch my diet, I have regular checkups, and I've also found it's really to enjoy life. You have to just be positive and don't take yourself too seriously, and be around people who are positive and are fun to be with, because you know, we're at our last leg of our journey, so why not enjoy it? Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Andrew Malerba. I come from Norwich, Connecticut. We were farmers, and I raised almost all my time in there, and then after we had a hurricane and wiped us out and we had to leave, and I walked 15 miles to the train station, and I got put on in a freight car, and I ended up in Manhattan. And then from there I ended up in Brooklyn on 64th Street and 4th Avenue. And that's where I stayed for a while.
What helps you keep young?
Working and eating good food and all that get me young. I came here in Brooklyn. That's where I first went to start making a living there. And I met this millionaire, and he bought an antique house upstate New York. And he says, I only want you to remodel it for me and everything. And when I got done and everything, he says, you know, he says, they're going to start building a lot of homes in Florida. He says, I'm going to give you a name of a bank, he says, and they'll give you money when you get started. So when I went down there, I started doing doors and windows. Then one guy wanted me to build a house. So, oh boy, I says, I'll have to go to that bank. So I went to that bank and I told him, I said, how much money could I get, how much interest? He says, we'll give you anywhere from $85,000 to $100,000. He says, he's gave you that much credit. So boy, he says, if I took that and ran away, I'd be a millionaire in those days. So then I started to build houses and everything, and that's what got me going, and that's what I did. Even on the farm, I built, you know what outhouses are. I built those. I built chicken coops, barns, and greenhouses and all that. And I never got a lesson or anything. I built it all by myself, yeah. And when I started to build in New York and in Brooklyn, the boy, they said, boy, you know what you're doing, this and that, jeepers creepers, yeah. And that was my life. Yeah, I like to dance, I like to play golf, I like to play cards, yeah. And I like to play cards with a lot of women and men, all that.
With the one in charge. He's the very, very best we've ever had. And that's why he stayed with us for so long. And I hope he continues. He's greatly appreciated,
Thank you,
as
Rose.
far as I'm concerned, and others too.
Well, you're a wonderful lady, Rose. I wouldn't have missed this day for nothing.
And my name is Ira Orenstein. I'm Rose's son. I'll be 80 years old, so I'm not a youngster, but she is at 102. My mother certainly has been an inspiration to me. She grew up during the Depression years and know about the hard times of life and able to overcome them, and always kept the family as a unit. She certainly inspired me
The best college.
to go on to school and get schooling, and being able to be independent as she has always been in her life. I look back and think of my mother, who incidentally had been born with a handicap in one of her arms, but no one would ever know because she never asked for help, always tried to do things for herself. And by doing those things, for herself, she was able to be a survivor. And in the old age, she's able to maintain her life as an ordinary person. She was a great cook, enjoyed her baking and cooking, and the holidays that we always had at the house, a celebration, always with family around. And I think having family around and friends and having a lot of humor in her life contributed to her being able to live to the age that she has in relatively in a happy mood. She has lots of friends, is interested in people, interested in current affairs. She never looks back on things. She always looks forward. Now her inspiration is her great-granddaughter, who is 3 years old, and always interested in what she's doing, how she's doing, and how everyone in the family is doing. I never have known her to complain. She accepts things, and sometimes it's hard for me to accept. Sometimes I say, "Mom, you have to complain about those things." Well, it's all right. So there's lots more to say, but not enough time to say it in, and I won't have anything to say when she's 103. So I have to save something. Right, Mom?
Happy birthday, dear Mom. Happy birthday to you. One more time. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mom. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Did you have the song Love Is a Memory?
Baby, don't you know I love you?